Textile Podcast, brought to you by The Yarn Bazaar, inspiring textpreneur stories. The Yarn Bazaar.
हेलो एवरीवन, नमस्ते। आप सभी का स्वागत है टेक्सप्रेनर स्टोरीज के एक नए एपिसोड में। मैं हूं आपका होस्ट प्रतीक गाड़िया एंड आई एम द फाउंडर एंड सीईओ ऑफ द यार्न बाजार एंड एडिटर इन चीफ ऑफ टेक्सप्रेनर्स। आज हम आपको एक बहुत ही अलग पर्सनालिटी से मिलाना चाहते हैं and we would love to know from you guys if we shall continue to host such dynamic and innovative personalities on our podcast. As per Plastic Ocean Organization, approximately 500 billion plastic bags worldwide use होते हैं। इसका मतलब 1 मिलियन से भी ज़्यादा प्लास्टिक बैग्स हर मिनट यूज़ होते हैं। But what about the recycling part? आज भी ग्लोबली बहुत कम पैमाने में रिसाइकलिंग की जा रही है, which is ultimately resulting into global warming and many other environmental pollution problems. आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही यंग टेक्सप्रेनर है जो ना केवल प्लास्टिक को रिसाइकल करते हैं बल्कि उससे बनाते हैं बहुत ही डैशिंग स्नीकर्स जो कि पूरी तरह से सस्टेनेबल है, 100% सस्टेनेबल स्नीकर्स। सो लेट्स वेलकम मिस्टर आशय भावे, हु इज द CEO of Theli. In this episode we will cover what is sustainability to him, how he came up with the idea, how he got the product line, the manufacturing and the distribution established. So let's welcome Mr. Ashay Bhave, the CEO of Theli.
So Ashay, if you could tell our listeners something about yourself.
Okay, I'm Ashay Bhave. I'm the CEO and creative director of Theli. Theli is a vegan sneaker brand that makes sneakers from 10 plastic bags and 12 plastic bottles, and we just launched this 5th of July.
Oh, nice! Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what is the concept behind Theli? What exactly is the brand? How did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so first I came up with the fabric. It's a fabric that has, similar properties to leather, but it's made entirely out of waste plastic bags. And all of the entire production process does not require any chemicals, and neither are any chemicals released as a byproduct of the process itself. And because I had a background in footwear design, I thought sneakers would be the best possible application for it. While I was visiting India in 2018, there was a local shoe repair shop, and I gave them the fabric. I said, can you work prototype using the existing patterns or molds that you have, just as a proof of concept. And the proof of concept showed a lot of promise. Of course, it was very rough, but I presented it during a business pitching competition, something like Shark Tank. I won that competition, and one of the judges at the competition is a social entrepreneur. His name's Matteo Bofa, and he's also heavily involved in the sustainable industry. So he came on board as my first mentor and investor.
Okay, nice. So I think it's fair to say that Theli is a sustainable brand. It's completely vegan.
Yes.
And right now your range of product is sneakers.
Sneakers, correct.
Okay. So are you a sneakerhead, or is it because of the application of this particular fabric being suitable for sneakers you decided to start with this line of
No,
product?
I am a sneakerhead. I studied footwear design also in New York. I've been a sneakerhead very long time.
I think I have to connect you to this very, very close friend of mine. He's again from textiles background.
Okay.
He's a sneakerhead. The last I checked with him about 2 or 3 years back, he had about like 70 collection of sneakers.
Nice.
He also has started with a sustainable fashion brand. It's called Green Vibes, where they make fabrics out of bamboo yarn, hemp yarn.
Got it. Sounds good. Yeah, I'd love to speak with him.
Okay. So before we go further with our podcast, could you help us understand more about you personally? I mean, who Ashay Bhave is, your background?
Okay. So I grew up in India, in Mumbai specifically. Navi Mumbai, in fact. In school, I studied. I was always interested in design. Design wasn't really a subject that we could take up, so I studied business, which is the next thing I'm interested in. And then after 12th grade, I moved to New York, where I studied accessory design at the Fashion Institute of Technology. Accessory design includes footwear design, handbag design, and hat design. Yeah, so I did about a year of that degree, and I wasn't very happy with it. It didn't seem very promising, even though, despite it being like one of the best universities in the world for this particular subject. And then around the same time, had moved to New York. My family had moved to Dubai. I chose to move. I chose to move back with my family in Dubai. I wanted to take up a business course instead. So I enrolled in a BBA entrepreneurship course, and the course wasn't very intensive. We didn't have a lot of homework. We didn't have a lot of assignments to do. So I had, which was a good thing because I had a lot of time to experiment and explore things outside of the curriculum. And
That sounds like a very nicely designed entrepreneurship course, which allows all the students to have more free time to work on their.
exactly, yeah, it was great. In fact, a lot of times, some students were like, oh, what, and their parents were like, oh, there's not much work, what do these guys do? But like, I feel like it was designed specifically so that people could go out, do more,
So
do internships
I
and
think
all of that.
you have more bandwidth to work on your ideas as part of an entrepreneurship curriculum, right?
Exactly,
So I've done masters in innovation entrepreneurship from Warwick University, UK.
got it. Okay,
Our
nice.
curriculum was again, not a very standard curriculum. There was no exams. It was all about
Mhm.
projects, business models.
Yeah, exactly. So, I in fact I was pretty happy with our entrepreneurship course for that reason. I was able to take up a lot of freelance design work. I made like, did graphic design and content creation for a lot of brands in Dubai. I did work for Converse Middle East. I did work for Reebok Middle East, and yeah, all of these brands. And I was doing all of this at the age of like 19 to 20. So it was definitely a great opportunity to do all of that. And then now all of that experience has definitely helped me with my own brand. And yeah, I was pretty happy with my course. And also at the core, the part of the course was this Shark Tank like competition that I told you about. So they call it the Eureka Startup Competition. And it's basically you pitch your business idea, and if you win, you get 1 year's worth of office space in the school's incubation area. You don't really get funding, but I was, on the rare occasions you do, and I was lucky enough to get that opportunity.
And what's your family background?
My shipping industry. He's in the oil and shipping industry actually. My mom she was a counselor. She had also started one of the first vermiculture waste management plants in New Bombay, actually the first one. So she was doing that for quite a while, and she was also a practicing counselor at the time.
Okay, so basically you're the first explainers in your family then.
Oh yes, I am.
Okay, nice, nice. Acha, so coming back to Theli, the initiative we've just started this month. How is the value chain for you? Like, I mean, are you getting into the manufacturing aspect of the business as well, or how does it work?
So I mean, we outsource our manufacturing to other people, but they're working with specialized machinery and processes that we've developed and perfected. So yeah, we don't have our own
So
manufacturing facility.
if I break it down, are you the one buying the fabrics and then giving it to someone to convert the fabric into a sneaker?
First it starts with collecting the plastic bags. So we're working with Triotab Technologies, which is a waste management plant in Gurgaon. So they collect the waste plastic bags for us, and then we had a tie up with them. So we've started a small processing unit at their facility itself, where we've trained some of their workers, and so they are making the fabric for us and only us.
Okay,
So we're not exactly buying the fabric from them. It's more of like
got it.
it's more of a manufacturing agreement type thing. And
Right.
then we're taking the fabric, and then we're going to Nitush Footwear, which is in Jalandhar. So they're a very big footwear producer. They generally do sports shoes, some leather shoes. So they're making the shoes for us.
Okay. And what is sustainability to you?
Sustainability to me is, it's not just about being environmentally friendly, but it's also being ethical when it comes to your business practices, and also having like you also have to be sustainable with it. Again, I'm using the word sustainable, but I'm
Hmm.
putting it in a different context. What I mean is, you can't just come out with one green product and then have all your other products be horrible for the environment. You have to have a holistic approach, where your supply chain, your product, all the people you're working with are treated ethically, and you're also not harming the environment at the same time. And I mean, it's sustainable. You can't just, like, to me, when some companies say that, oh, we have a sustainable product, I don't think it means a lot. You sort of need to be you can't make a sustainable product at a factory with bad working conditions, and it's not it does not seem right to me.
Right. But as far as I'm aware, I think it's picking up everywhere. Even commercial brands like Adidas, Nike, they're coming up with an entire range of product with sustainable fibers. So they've got PET T-shirts. Now I've heard Nike has launched a special range of sneakers made out of pineapple fibers.
True, but then you sort of have to read between the lines. Like, for example, the new Nike shoe that we're talking about, the Space Hippie, it's got only 30 to 40% recycled materials, and it's the same with the Adidas shoe. Yes, it's somewhat sustainable, but then, like, we're doing a shoe that's 100% recycled.
So that's, I think, the differentiating factor, that
Exactly.
Theli shoes are 100% sustainable and vegan.
We're a much smaller company, and we're able to do this. And
Right.
so you kind of decipher that Nike is not doing it because they want to promote sustainability or they care for the environment. It's more of a marketing tactic, because then why is Nike not having regular releases for all these shoes? They're only very limited releases.
Acha, you mentioned that you started Theli just this month, and you have had this idea. You've been working on it since 2 years almost, right?
Yeah, correct.
Could you throw some light on this journey?
Sure. So in 2018 is when I first thought of the fabric, and I heard about the ban on plastic bags in India. And it wasn't really being enforced. Even now we can go out and get a plastic bag. So, and the law was very celebrated, but it's definitely not being enforced. I had also recently learned that we consume a trillion plastic bags every year, but none of them are actually recycled. And forget recycling; they're not even collected, because they don't really have any value to them when it comes to recycling, so nobody collects them. So I wanted to find a solution to this, because I believe that good design can create social change. And I was also working on my design portfolio at the time, so it was a project that I wanted to work on. So there was no eureka or defining moment where the fabric just came up. It took many months of testing and trying, and research. And I'm not somebody who studied chemistry, so it took quite a bit of research, just on the internet, googling things, how do plastic melts, how do they react to certain things. So it took a lot of research, but finally I had a very rough prototype ready, and I was doing all of this at my home at that time. Just modified household appliances. Then in the summer I made the prototype, and so I didn't really do much with the prototype and the fabric and all of that, because it was more of like a design project that I was doing. I didn't have any plans for converting it into a business, because I don't really come from like a business family, or I don't have any contacts in the industry, neither do I have any capital or any of that. So I couldn't do much with the material and the issue. But towards like the end of 2019, we had that Eureka Startup Award that I told you about. And that's where I really wanted to have present something at the competition. I didn't really want to get a job or like do things like that. I wanted to start my own thing, and I thought Eureka would be a great launching point for that, because
So it was this incubator which give you the right head start.
yeah. So it definitely, at the incubator you also get mentorship and access to their network of people,
Right.
individuals who are in the industry.
Access to resources, knowledge, experts.
Yeah. So, and of course, at the competition I met Matteo Boffa, was also, I would say, the biggest help and biggest factor in Theli's success. Couldn't be possible without him. So he at the competition gave me his card, and he basically said that come see me in a few days, and I would like to invest in your company and help support it. So I met him the same week, and right then he had agreed to help me raise about $60,000. He funded the first production ready prototype in Dubai itself. So we worked with a small boutique footwear producer over there, and we made a rough, sort of, better than the previous version, but still pretty rough. And we did like photo shoots with that, and then we said that we're launching soon. But I mean, we were definitely not launching soon. It was more to get investment.
That's just a great startup hack, now.
Yeah. It was more to get investment, and it worked out. Raised all of the $60,000 and plus another $45,000, and then this is all like at the start of 2020, and we came back to India, sorting out production, registration, all of that, and then the pandemic hit, of course. And things sort of went on a standstill. But I was still working on refining the details, refining everything. So we finally registered the company in May 2020, and we got a few prototypes done that were like production ready. They were pretty close to what we have out right now. We were trying to finalize an agreement with a scrap dealer, and I was going to set up a factory also in Mumbai to process the plastic bag. But around during the pandemic, nobody was really collecting plastic bags, or in fact nobody was recycling anything during the peak of the pandemic in 2020, because of course it's a biohazard. So things weren't really working out, and I went back to Dubai. The first chance I got, I went back to Dubai, and I was like, okay, we need to rethink things. Costing was coming up too high, and it was difficult to get the raw material. But towards the end of 2020, we sort of figured things out. We got a good manufacturer to produce the shoes. We collaborated with Tryotap for both the collection of plastic and processing of the plastic bags. And it all happens in like one facility, so it's it just drastically reduces our carbon emissions and costs. So it worked out very well. We again, then there were a few lockdowns and things got delayed, and a bunch of things happened, but I think everything worked out. We finished our production in June, and in July we launched.
So I think it's really important to note that PD, which is product development, is not an overnight journey. It takes time. And as an entrepreneur or as a promoter of a company, you have to have patience. You have to be persistent.
Yeah. You need to be patient, and you always need to have a plan B.
Right. So Asha, what were the main challenges you faced while starting up?
One of the main challenges, like I said, was I thought it would be easier to get plastic bags. That was not the case. Nobody, yes, some places in China or like some places in India, they are collecting plastic bags, but they're not really recycling them. They're just like putting them in landfills or burning them, or things like that. It was sort of hard to find plastic bags, waste plastic bags, of course. And it that was definitely the biggest challenge, because if we are one of the first, we are the first company to find a method to actually recycle plastic bags. Nobody was doing it before, so nobody was even collecting them. So that was a big challenge. Another challenge was just finding the right suppliers and the right manufacturers, because we can't just go, being an ethical and sustainable business, we can't just go with anybody, or the cheapest possible option. It needs to be somebody who has the right certifications, the right outlook. We went to a lot of big shoe manufacturers, some very, very large ones in India, and a lot of them just did not understand why we would want to make a shoe with recycled materials. People understand, we need products that are green and all of that, but I don't know, it just is. And this is not just the case in India. A lot of companies are manufacturers, they're sort of satisfied with what they're doing currently, and there is no motivation to sort of innovate or experiment. And I don't blame them. Things are working out very well for them. So that was sort of hard too, just convincing people that this can be done, and it would be good for both my company and your company.
I think, Asha, startup founders are meant to hustle. Like, similar to your case, if you've come across the case study of Spanx, which is, one of the biggest success in textile slash innerwear space.
Yes.
She says that she had approached like more than 100,000 manufacturers, and nobody believed in her idea. They thought that it was a very funny product. I mean, wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And look at where they are, a complete new category on its own, such a successful company.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So we finally found Nitush Footwear. They're also called Ritika Footwear, and the owner, Mr. Nitush Chadda. He's also pretty young for a relatively young for being an owner of such a big company and all of that. So he sort of had that he wanted to not only take on this project but also experiment with us and like refine the product with us, find faults, find solutions to the problems, which is very important because this is a fabric that nobody's used before, and it needs some amount of attention and care. And yeah, that was very great of him for supporting us.
And how do you plan to manage the distribution? What would be the sales channels?
So right now we're predominantly doing online through our website itself,
So direct to consumer.
direct to consumer. We're also selling, distributing through third party retail stores. So multi brand shoe stores and things like that. So we've got. We're right at the moment. We're in Level Shoes in Dubai Mall, which is the biggest shoe store in the world, in the biggest mall in the world. And we're very close to also distributing through other online marketplaces that sort of specialize in sustainable products and or sneakers. And we're going, very very soon we're going to be in a few other stores, but I can't really talk about it right now.
No, that's great, man. It sounds pretty exciting. You've got the entire distribution sorted from a holistic point of view. So
Thank you.
whether it's direct to consumer online or your multi-brand outlets.
Yeah, things have luckily fallen into place.
Nice. Opinion, what is the best customer experience that a sneaker shopper could have? Would it be a intuitive online shopping experience, or is it that sneakerheads would probably prefer walking into a store? You know,
I mean, sneakerheads, if you look at an average sneakerhead, he already knows or he or she already knows what the shoe looks like even before it's released. They're keeping up with leaks. They are mostly buying online. The excitement of sneakerheads. They're building bots secure their orders on websites. So I don't think like seeing it in a physical store is a big priority for most sneakerheads at the moment. But, so that's sneakerheads. But the regular customer, yes, some people are a little intimidated by the shoe being made of plastic. They're worried if it's going to be breathable or if it's going to be durable enough. And for that, we can give as many assurances as we want on the website, but people like seeing the shoe physically. So
so from target audience standpoint, I think your early adopters and all is already sorted because online makes sense to them.
yeah, exactly.
Have you got your product sorted in terms of your website and all?
Yeah, so we've already started with sales on the website. We're doing pretty well.
Okay. And Asha, if you could tell us more about the Theli team, what are your future plans? Is there any product line expansion you're looking at?
Sure. I am the CEO and creative director. So I do, the day-to-day things, creative direction when it comes to designing sneakers, handling production, content creation. That's all that I do. Then we have Matteo Bofa. He was the first investor on board. So he great at PR. So he helps us with that. He also helps us raise capital, and he's also the vice president of the Swiss Business Council. So he's got a great network like that. Then we have Nicolo Manica. He
Hmm.
is he's got a e-commerce solutions company. So and a digital marketing company. So he handles all the website management, maintenance, integration, all of that. He and Luca, who's his partner on. Then we've got Evelina. Evelina is a branding specialist. She was the one who's she's done a lot of projects for many celebrated champagne brands in France. She's the one who came up with the whole concept behind the famous champagne brand called Carbon. So yeah, so she's helping us with branding. And we've got Eric. Eric is the founder of Zloop. Zloop is a app that gives you reward points every time you recycle. So for example, if you recycle and then you get 20,000 reward points on Zloop, then you get a 20% discount on our shoes. So he helps us with business development, and of course he also has a very good network. So that's what he helps us with. And the rest of the people, they're investors. So they're not, of course, they're not involved with the day-to-day runnings of the business, but they're also, they have great suggestions and are always keen to help.
That sounds like you've got a great team here.
Thank you. Yes, I'm pretty happy with our team.
And Asha, what is the most important thing you've learned in your life, and how do you think this has changed you as a person?
The most important thing I've learned is probably don't go on your first assumptions. Don't start doing things because you assumed so. They need to be backed by research, and this research does not just have to be, it can't be things that you just find or read on the internet. You sort of need to go out and do groundwork research. That's probably the number one thing I've learned, because when we people my age, we're a product of it, and we think that everything's available on the internet, and you can find anything on the internet. But I've learned that that's not the case. A lot of these, there's so much information that's not on the internet that you sort of have to go find out by yourself, by talking to people, meeting people, going to, places physically. I went around Agra and Delhi and, all these places trying to look for manufacturers, and, you sort of have to be there on ground.
Right. I think finding quantitative data on the internet works, but qualitative data you might have to do primary research.
Exactly. And also about quantitative data on the internet, it's also done by, some person.
I mean, it's not verified or authenticated.
Not verified, it's not, and it's also built upon assumptions, and so you're assuming things on the basis of other people's assumptions, and it's just a vicious cycle. So it's better to do your own research physically.
And Asha, my last question to you is, your word of advice to young entrepreneurs, especially the ones, who are looking at starting something new but are not able to take that leap of faith.
One would be that you always need to be on the lookout for opportunities, and you need to be proactive with taking them up. I would say that don't wait to wait to make your own money and invest it in your company or things like that, because that's not, I don't think that's the way to go about it. And you're also likely to lose out on time, because you're like, oh, I need to build up capital, and then by that time somebody else will come up with the same idea and execute it. So I would encourage people to pitch at all these competitions. There's a pitch competition every month. Now everything's done online, so there's a pitch competition almost every month by multiple incubation centers and VC companies. And it's if you have an idea, don't just keep it at an idea. Make your business plan, make your pitch presentation, work on a prototype. It's not very expensive to have a prototype made. Of course, depends on what you're making a prototype of, but then it's good to always start with a prototype, because all these pitch competitions that I used to
Hmm.
have a physical product ready, or or even like a prototype ready. A lot of it was like, oh, we'll do this with your funding, or like we'll it's we'll get AI, and we'll get machine learning, and we'll do this and we'll do
No,
that.
I hear you. I've interacted with so many people who always feel that there's a formula to success. You need a product ready, you need this ready, you need funding in place, you need X, Y, Z. But success is always shabby, man. I mean, like you just have to get started and get hustling.
Exactly. You have to work with what you have. Okay, let's say you don't know how to make an app. You don't have any coding knowledge. That's okay. You can make mock-ups, or you can get somebody on Fiverr to do your app for like $100. Don't go out clubbing for a month and you'll have the money to do all of this. And yeah, of course, I am in a privileged position where my family has been encouraging, and I didn't need to go find a job like right away. But if you have all of these things in place, I would encourage people to start their own businesses and work on their own ideas.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot, Ashay. Thanks a lot for taking your time out and interacting with us.
Thanks for having me.
Before we wrap up, I have a quick rapid fire round with you.
Sure.
So, movies or web series?
Movies.
Mumbai or Delhi?
Mumbai for sure.
Louis Vuitton or Steve Madden?
Louis Vuitton.
Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Superb, superb. All right, Asha, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.